And welcome back, fight fans, to another episode of Friday Night Fights. Season 11, Division 4D we're covering. And what are we in, week 5 now, Charles? Week 4.
Yes. Hello. Yeah,
Hey.
It's time to get serious about the season. That's my plan, at least. It's time to win or give up.
Yeah, and with us is Juvasek. He's back from his Mediterranean trip abroad. How you doing, Juvasek?
Fine. Stuffed and fine.
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look at our scorecards where we give you the week's results. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. These are the scorecards where we take a look at last week's games that you guys played. We go over it, see how it went. Now, Charles has picked his main event from last season, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Charles, who was your main event pick?
Yeah, we got Commanders in Greece, a 0, versus Mass Boats, also 0. So a barn burner for this week's main event.
Now that's weird because last week you were talking about how the main event guy, the producer for that segment, was really nailing it.
Yeah,
What
he
happened
kind
to
of got
him?
it wrong this week.
He got it wrong.
Wasn't a great week.
Yeah.
I blame Jovsek, but let's not.
Wait, he
name
wasn't
names
even here. What are you doing?
Point fingers.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think it's not. You picked the only match that's 0-0.
So, yeah, that was the plan exactly. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wanted everyone to see that 0-0 and learn about it.
So
Please, anyone that believes Charles, write it in the comment section after.
yeah, send an email to Charles. The ball possession is pretty much equal. Blocks are pretty close to equal. KOs and injuries about similar. I don't see anything that stands out here. 1 death, 4 casualties sustained. I mean, the Commanders took a little more damage, it looks like, but nothing like that stands out to me as major damage.
I would say it does stand out as major because the armor rolls, the injury rolls were insane.
Were they?
Considering it's armor 9, I think the elves got way more removals than you should expect playing AV9. But I want to go through this one real quick. So the Orcs, they start on the offense. I feel like they give up control of the midfield really early. To get more hits, maybe they give up midfield and they go to the sideline. And I believe they wanted to get some removals before recapture that position and moving out of the sideline, but those removals never happened. Their big killer, Smaxon, didn't do anything that game, if I remember correctly. So the Elves just keep the Orcs on the sideline. They never cross the midfield line. The Elves do go for a leap cage dive. They sack the ball, but the sacker forgets not to pick it up, and then they cannot score. And that's the 0-0 on first half. And then the second half, I actually liked what the Mass Boats were doing. They remain patient, but the ball is tucked away really nicely. There's no way the Orcs can ever get to it. But then they have trouble keeping the lines and they scatter their players. They do get some nice injury rolls on their favor, but when it comes time to make a break for it, the Elves are just scattered and they leave a 3+ dodge into a 1-die sack with the skill strip ball, so it's not very difficult for the Orcs to get that sack. They do sack it, and that's the 0-0. So I think it was well played, but both the offenses kind of dropped the ball. Or you could say the defenses were great, maybe. You can see it from the other side.
One of the things that really stands out, like you said, the injuries. There were 6 dice, and the Commanders agree failed 4 times, so that means the other elves broke their armor 4 times. And the other thing that looks interesting here is that the Commanders in Grief rolled 17 skulls, and I think that was their highest roll except for push. So I mean, they seem to be rolling a lot of skulls that game. compared to the
Yeah.
Mass Bowl too. We're just kind of average throughout the whole thing.
That may be a reason why they didn't get many removals, because the skulls do force you to maybe push sometimes where you wanted to actually get a hit.
Yeah.
And they just didn't get any damage, and
Yeah.
that was the main problem on their offense. They never regained space because they didn't have a threat to take elves away.
Yeah, if you don't get elves off the pitch early, then it's a really long day because they just stand up and screen you and you can't move. All right, let's take a look. What's the next game you want to take a look at?
The Sterland Hornets, everyone picked them, and they delivered 3-1 victory over the Scap-Up Skavens.
Okay, the Hornets had 56% ball possession, way more blocks, way more KOs, way more injuries, just a lot of things going their way in this game. Skill points obviously reflect that as well. And let's take a quick look. Anything interesting in the dice rolls here? I don't see anything that really stands out at this point, but I didn't watch the game. Did either of you guys get a chance to catch this one?
Yeah, I watched it. Just as you see the result,
Yeah.
it was pretty fair, but it's the opposite completely on the start. Because the Sterland Hornets were pretty unlucky. They got knocked out from a rock event. A player was knocked out. At the first hit of the opponents, another player was knocked out. And the first turn that Sterland Hornets played, they got the Rat Dog down. They tried to force the injury by hitting him, and they got a red card. So they were -3 players turn 1.
Well, that's impressive that they came back down.
Yeah, it was really solid work. And
The Hornets armor held 50% of the time, so that's kind of crazy. And one of the other things that kind of stands out to me here is the Scap-Up and Skavens. Their armor held 9 times, but it failed 10 times. I mean, the elves were just punching them and getting removals. It looks like our injury breaks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, maybe the Rats could delay a little bit their scoring.
Oh,
Maybe it would be better.
Would be better.
Because elves got the chance to tie before halftime.
Yeah, elves only need 1 or 2 turns to score. All right, let's take a look at our next game. That would be the Beer Brawl Club versus the Drakdar Squad. We do have the coach of the Beer Brawl Club on the show later on to talk a little more about this. The Beer Brawl Club, 56% ball possession. Drakdar only hit it 31% of the time. Let's see, casualties, KOs. Really favor the Beer Brawl Club here. Now, did anybody get a chance to see this game?
Yeah, I watched it again. It was a pretty intense game. Orcs had the upper hand most of the game because of the brawling that happened. The Orcs were pretty unlucky also because they made 74 blocks to injure only 1 player. Okay. So it was pretty unlucky on the injury rolls, yeah.
Oh yeah, 74 blocks. But against Dwarf Armor, I have to assume. Let me take a look at the dice logs on there. The Beer Brawl Club armor 6. Oh, jeez. Okay, so there were 46 successful armor hits that didn't get broken, and then only 6 of those went through. So that is kind of amazing. And of those six that went through, only 1 was an injury roll. So that's even more amazing. Wow.
Yeah. It was pretty unlucky on that part.
Yeah.
And also it was a mistake from the dwarf coach on turn 3 that he used the wizard after standing up a couple of dwarves, but obviously forgetting that the turn ends when you use it.
Yeah.
Like that, and he missed the chance to get the ball there.
Alright, so he pre-fired his wizard bolt, and he should have waited either to the beginning of the turn or the end of the turn. But we'll have him on the show to talk about that. Let's go take a look at our next game. Bogue Bombers versus Varian Sularian. It's a 2-1 win for the Bombers. Humans getting it done over the Solarian. Now, I think I called that game for the Lizardmen. I think most of us did, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah,
And who didn't?
Who didn't?
Who didn't call it for the lizards?
Oh, I think we all called it for the lizards.
Oh, no, we
except
do.
for a guy named Juvsek.
No, I'm gonna go back and edit that out, Jubasek. You believe me.
Okay,
you...
okay. Yeah.
All right.
That's what you get for
Yeah,
showing
not
off.
being here. You should have been here. 50 blocks sustained on the bombers. Just a lot of blocks they were taking. Just not getting a lot of removals. Looks like good day of pickup for skill points for the bombers. And let's take a quick look at the dice rolls here. Anything stand out? I don't see anything right now. I'll have to dig a little deeper into this game. Armor holding up fairly well for the bombers. Did you get a chance to see this one?
Yeah, I would like to go over it.
Okay.
I felt like the humans did well on their offense. They kept the ball saved and they traded blows with the Lizardman. They stall a lot of time doing that and they don't really get into any trouble until the Lizardmen finally start to win the frontline fight because they have the strength advantage and all that. But by that time, the human team, they are prepared to go to a sideline screen and sidestep all that pressure from the front line. But they are forced to score because of the big Croxigor on their face, and I think their ogre was stunned, so they didn't have a big guy to deal with the Croxigor in their face, so they score on turn 7. But then they get a defensive blitz on their favor, and the Lizards only have 2 turns to score, and against a defensive blitz is going to be really difficult to do so. So first half ends 1-0 humans, well played offense by them, and then some luck on the defense part of things. I really liked on the second half the humans defensive screening. I'm seeing that their defense is really top notch, in my opinion. The Lizardmen, they cage up, they advance that cage, but then they kind of get into trouble, and the first time they have a chance to score, they just score because they knew the pressure was coming. That gave the human team a lot of time to score, and then they pull off a very nice move. I really like what they did because they set up multiple scoring threats on a screen to one side. They get all the Lizardmen to pressure those scoring threats because it makes sense, right? And then they actually planned on handing off and moving to the other side. So they did a switcheroo there. That was really nice. The best thing the Lizardman team could do was base the ball carrier, and that almost worked because the humans got a 1 in 36 in a GFI to get rid of the skink who was marking the ball. And then when it looked like the Lizardmen would get the ball, they also fail a 1 in 36, getting it right back to the humans who scored, and they get the winning blow there. But it was really well played on both sides, in my opinion.
Now, here's one thing. When a lot of times when you guys start talking, I try to look at the results a little more in the dice. The armor for the bombers, it failed 12 times, and of those 12 times, they only rolled 1 bad injury result. So that's amazing that it held up 91% of the time on injuries. Compared to the Lizardmen, their armor was a little different. It failed 8 times, and then their injury rolls were 50-50. I mean, 4 of them got through, 4 of them didn't do anything. So that's one of those unfortunate things where it's like you're throwing a lot of punches, but you're just not getting any removals or injuries, even though you're getting through their armor.
But that's also playing with the skinks. It's low armor and a bigger chance of getting knocked out, so that do inflate the stats a little bit.
Probably. Yeah, that's probably true. But I mean, there's only gonna be 3 skinks on the pitch at one time, right? I mean, most of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, some of those had to have gone through that. All right, let's take a look at the next matchup we have. Sweet Teeth Forever, 2-1 win over the Grumble Grok Gorgers. Let's take a quick look here. 50% ball possession to 43%. Pass 21 blocks to 41 blocks. It's quite a difference in blocks, but the Gorgers had 5 injuries inflicted on them compared to 2. Now again, that could be because they have the smaller guys on their team. Sweet Tooth Forever did take 5 sustained casualties to the Gorgers' 3 sustained casualties. dice rolls. I don't see anything unusual for Sweet Teeth, and nothing really obscene for the Grumble Gorgers. Anybody catch this one?
Yeah, I watched that one. It was pretty on the rolls because all the game was made due to sweltering sun. The event.
Okay, yeah, and there's a nice fireball that hit 4 people and sustained.
Yeah.
Those 4. Injury
It
rolls.
was
Yeah.
pretty well executed, the fireball, yeah.
Hey, it looks like somebody got thrown. There's 1 successful landing. I do like to see a throw teammate. You know, you hardly ever see it when people try to win, but we're going having fun.
So did the hit take away some ogres off the pitch and put the ogre team in trouble? Is that it?
I think Sweet Teeth had the fireball.
They didn't allow to recover because Sweet Teeth scored turn 5, if I remember correctly, and turn 6, and turn 6 for the ogre team. Due to sweltering shot, got out 3 ogres, so they limited their opportunities in making the 1-1 before the end of the half.
That's a rough
Yeah,
one.
so you have 3 big guys and some nobblers, and that team absolutely sucks if you don't have your ogres.
That's good.
Actually, I think because of the 3 subs he had, he was also minus a player because of an injury.
Ouch. Rough one, but he scored 1 touchdown. Skill points, he picked up plenty of SPPs, so even though he lost, I mean, that's a good day for skill points.
The important thing in this is that the MVP of the match for the Ogre is missing next game.
Oh. Alright, well, think long term. Let's go on to who we got? Rebbl Cheese Thieves and Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, I was the only one to pick the cheese thieves for this one. I thought they could pull it off, or maybe I was hoping that they could pull it off, but Ming Nergo got it.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Now there was 0% ball possession by the Cheese Thieves.
I am not sad, don't worry.
Yeah. Now is this Panier's team?
Yeah.
Yes.
0% ball possession. So is he just? I didn't get to see this game. I can only imagine. He's trying to go for the 1 turns. 1 pass, 1 catch successful. Nice day of Dazed and Confused. Got a nice day of pickups on skill points. Let's take a look at dice rolls here. If anything stands out, a lot of armor breaking on the Cheese Thieves. Pickups for the Cheese Thieves: 4 successes and 3 failures. So not a good day of picking up. And Dazed and Confused. I don't see anything that really stands out here. Just a good day all around for Rebbl, I guess. 2-1. You beat the Panier's team. You got to feel happy about that, and caused 2 deaths on his team. His team's gonna be really whittled down. We're gonna take a look at that later. All right, let's take a look at our last matchup here. Oh wait, we've got 2 more matchups. No, we got 1 more.
No, that was the bye week, so
Okay.
we actually went through everyone.
All right, so I guess we don't. Admin team is gonna get a 0-1 draw. So bring out your undead. We'll get a free win. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back with Juvisix CompuBox stats. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. Up next is Juvisix CompuBox, where he takes a look at some statistics, lets us know who the heavy hitters are, what's going on around the league. Who did you want to talk about first, Juvisix?
First, let's talk about some team stats.
Okay.
And let's talk about the most touchdowns scored by a team. And it's the Rebbl Cheese Thieves that have scored the most touchdown in these first 4 weeks. They've scored 12 touchdowns.
12 touchdowns in this amount of time. That's amazing. I assume,
12 touchdowns I don't score in my whole season.
I know. I don't think I scored 12 all season last season either. Now
Yeah,
I
it's
assume
not
most
been
of
good
those.
for their health.
Yeah, I assume that's most of those are on the Panier.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 of those.
Panier is also the first scorer with 7 touchdowns.
Now, if you're playing against the Cheese Thieves, you've basically only got 1 player to stop now because his team is decimated. He's down to 5 healthy team members. And that's just, actually 4 now because 1's out next game. This is amazing that he's been able to keep it going this long with just loners.
Yeah, his one got a runner died in the game in turn 2.
That makes sense. All right.
It was the block Surhans, I think,
Gotcha.
got the runner.
All right. And who else did you want to take a look at?
I wanted to take a look at Grumbled Rock Gorgers,
Okay.
the Ogre team,
All right.
because it's the team that has inflicted by far the most injuries so far.
Okay. Is that 42 casualties?
It's 19 injuries in 4 matches,
Oh, okay. Oh,
with
yeah.
the second team coming at 11.
That's a lot.
It's
I assume
brutal.
people are just standing there basing up, or what's going on here? I haven't watched what's happening here. Run, people! Run from the big guys.
Yeah. And I want to talk about a specific player of that team.
Okay.
That is leading the injury table. It's the Black Blood Tippler.
All right. Which one? Blood Tippler.
Blood. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look at his stats real quick. He's got 11 casualties inflicted and 74 blocks succeeded. Let's take a look at just this division, season 11 here. So far, he's got 20 blocks, 6 casualties inflicted, 1 KO, 10 injuries. He's doing a lot of work.
Except that he's leading the injury table, of course,
Yes.
with a lot of injuries. He's the only one that has inflicted 2 deaths
Yep.
to opponents. But to say to Acropolis, the cause of the days and confused that he met him after, to be not alerted because he's missing next game. But the rest of you should keep an eye on him.
Yeah, you probably don't want to get too close to any of them right now. All right.
And the last stat I would want us to talk about is the touchdowns. I've told you about the Panero, of course, we've shown him with 7 touchdowns scored, but now someone is catching up this week. Yeah, it's from Steelland Hornets, their catcher, Orion Rosewatch. With his performance this week, he's scored 5 touchdowns.
Okay.
And it seems so far that is a race between the two of them who will be the main scorer of the league.
I gotta say, if he keeps this up, I would assume they're gonna live a little longer than the Paneer, because the Paneer's team is just decimated, whereas the Elves still got some quality players on their team. So
and if I could bet on one of the two, probably would be the Steelland Hornets catcher.
Yeah, I think I would take that bet. That's a good bet. Oh, it's a good look from the catcher too. He's got a David Bowie kind of tattoo on his face. It's kind of cool. His outfits are horrible, and let's talk about our heavy hitters. Who do you got up, Juvasa?
I have the werewolf, Hersey, from the Sweet Teeth Forever. He scored 1 touchdown and 1 KO in his match.
All right.
And in comparison to him, the other contender is the White Raven Blitzer from the Steelland Hornets, that he also scored 1 touchdown, but he inflicted also 3 KOs.
All right.
That's pretty impressive, and I would like to add that was his debut on BloodBowl, so the White Raven comes into the league with a very impressive showing.
So he's a rookie, came in, did some damage. And
Yeah,
made it to
that
the
was
heavy
his
hitters.
first match.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate L's, but nice on you. All right. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at our pound for pound leaderboard. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. This is our pound for pound rankings. We take a look at the division, see who's on top, who's on bottom, who's moving, who's going up, who's going down. So Season 11, Division 4D, looks like Nurgle sitting at the top with the Bogue Bombers, Commanders, and Grief, all with 8 points.
Yeah, just there's a problem with Rebbl.net doesn't seem to have picked up the Hornets match.
Oh,
So the Hornets are actually top.
Sorry. Oh, they're at the very top?
Yes,
Okay.
because they go to 10 points with that win.
Oh, Okay. Well,
So
is that
yeah.
the team you picked?
yes, it is.
That's why you're
so
all of a
far.
sudden Johnny on the spot with this. Okay. I see. Otherwise, you're
That's
like,
why I
"Ah,
want
I
to be
don't
so
know."
precise
Yeah.
about it.
All of a sudden, you're wanting to be precise and let everybody know how smart you are.
But yeah, the Nurgle team is looking great.
Yeah.
And they have the Bulk Bombers, also very solid, and then Commander in Grief, all of 8 points.
Yeah.
I like all of those teams right now.
yeah.
I want to look at more at Days Done Confused actually, but
The Necro
Haven't had
team
the time.
and the Mass Bolt still not out of it. For that matter, the Cheese Thieves definitely not out of it. I guess where it kind of starts to slowly fade right now, the Gorgers with only 1 point for their one draw. I assume in the Ska Pop and Skavens at this point, you probably want to start playing for development. What are you in? We're in week 5. It's going to be tough to make up. It's a lot of room you're going to have to make up. I think if you're not in the top half.
I think it's time to decide. Really, I think they have a chance to come back, but they gotta go crazy and try to get wins right now because they can't sit and take bad results anymore.
Well, I think like here the Variant Solarian Lizardmen team. I think you're playing for development at this point. You've only got 2 points. You've got a draw or 2. What is it? 2 draws.
Yeah.
So just keep playing for development at this season and trying to get as many skill points. Don't worry about winning. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose like 6-0, but if you do, at least you get some skill points on your guys. Other than that, I mean, I suppose if you're at the Beer Brawl Club, can still make a move. They've got development, but they're so far behind in development right now. I think they are the ones that want to start looking at season 2. I can't really speak for Khemri. I don't play them enough, and I can't really speak. The elf teams can really throw the ball, so
I think
it's up in the air stuff for them.
I think we should note that the second place, I believe, gets we gotta look into it, but I think they get a spot into the other playoff.
Oh yeah, not the Premier League, but the other.
Yeah, so you are looking, of course, to be number 1 and go to the real playoffs, but if you go to the second one, which would be the Europa League, that would be good enough for a season. That would give us your competitive juices flowing.
Yeah,
I think you can still go for that second, maybe third place. We should look into it, how many spots there are.
Yeah, we'll do that on the next episode. We'll take a look and see who's on and who's out. But if you're at the bottom half, start looking, thinking about if you're going to make a move or are you just going to play for development. If you are playing for development, swallow your pride, take the loss, but try to develop your players and get the right players to score touchdowns. All right, let's take a quick break. We will come back. What's our next segment, Charles? I think we'll come back to
The main
Contender
event
Series.
and the undercard.
No, we're going to come back with the Contender Series, Charles. You're drinking again. Stop
Oh, I'm so
it.
sorry.
I know. All right, we'll be right back. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. Thank you, Juvasek. Hang on just a second. What we're doing is we're taking a look at our Contender Series, and we're going to talk with one of our coaches from the Beer Brawl Club, Maurneer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming in. For those of you who are just tuning in, we just had some minor technical difficulties. We had to re-record this segment. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into Maurneer's team. I won't be making fun of his uniforms. We all know I've already made fun of his uniforms before. What we're going to do is we're going to start out with Juvasek. You had a few questions for our guest that you wanted to ask.
Yeah, first of all, if he was planning on developing his team this season, so it's better for the next one, or trying to chase the playoff spot?
Well, I don't really have the pretension to get to the playoffs. So my goal is to develop the team, and at the end of the season, depending on whether I like it, continue with it, or swap to a different team, a different race in power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the second question is, it's concerned about your team because right now I can see it's the best defense team in the league. You've only conceded one touchdown in your defeat this week, 1-0. But you seem to be tempted, because I've watched all of your games, you seem to be tempting yourself to get into a brawl no matter what with your opponents.
Well, it's the name of my team, so I have to follow that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that justifies it. I'm covered.
So, when you're playing, are you looking to get a few removals and then you can move the ball? I mean, it's really hard to move the ball as dwarves when you're outnumbered on the pitch.
Yeah, that's my. So I'm really new to the game. I started 6 months ago, but my experience so far is that I have a hard time to move my K. So if I can get less players, it's much easier to get people out of the way. So yeah, it's pretty much my strategy. Beat people up until they give up and let me score.
Yeah, you absolutely, when you're playing a slow team, you want to get numbers advantage so you can move around the pitch a little easier. Let's take a quick look at your team. Charles, any of these players that stand out to you?
Right. We talked about the armor bust on the Trolls layer. Can you go to us on the decision on whether to keep him or not? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I was thinking whether I should buy a stadium upgrade or buy a neutral slayer. It's I don't have enough money for both of them, but a riot protection could be good.
Yeah, and the stadium upgrade lasts forever, so it might be a good choice, but then you might also be losing the opportunity to level up a Trolls layer early, so it's not a clear-cut choice.
Yeah.
And the second one I wanted to go through are that runner situation where you got a movement up on Normek, but then you already have a ball carrier, so I was curious on whether Normek's gonna become your ball carrier or you're gonna build him some other way.
Yeah, I think he may become my ball carrier. He got that movement up, I think, at the previous game, or I guess the game before the Orcs I lost. And it seems to be a very good upgrade for him. So I went that and I will see how things go. But most likely what I will do is Loki, because he has the kickoff return, will get the ball and give it to him and he can run and put TDs.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if he has a long career, he has much more potential than Loki based on that movement up.
Yeah. And kickoff return is always going to be useful. I mean, you're always going to need that extra movement as dwarves anyway. You've got plenty of guard going, some nice mighty blow pieces, and nice stand firm. Things are coming along. You've got a level up here on one of your longbeards. Have you already rolled that?
Yeah, I rolled that and I got movement up, armor, or regular.
Okay, so you rolled like an 11 or something, or 10?
I think it was 10, yes.
10.
So I need to think about it. I may go with guard, but yeah.
Yeah, I think what's the general strategy? I think it's like 2 guard, 1 mighty blow, 2 guard, 1 mighty blow. It just depends on, like, I think on my Chaos Dwarf teams I went all guard, but I was just trying to make up time because I got a few players killed early on. Yeah, everything looks good. You're on track. You got a nice defense. You just got to work on offense. Any games that stick out to you so far this season?
The game I just lost, I lost miserably. I got a touchdown against me by using my wizard in the middle of my turn, so I got a turnover, and I forgot that rule.
Yeah, that's one of those rules that people that are new to the game don't often remember, that using the wizard ends your turn.
And it was my only touchdown for the season, so I was really sad.
Yeah, well, you're doing really well with your defense, so you're just gonna work on the offense a little. Other than that, Charles, any other questions that you have for our guest?
Well, talk to us about the choice of stand firm on your Trolls layer over piling on or Juggernaut. I don't know.
Juggernaut, actually, so I have a sister team that I use for offline play, and I have a Juggernaut, which I actually think I didn't really know about it earlier. I may do that for my next Troll Slayer. So the idea, I'm not a huge fan of piling on because it does slow down the Troll Slayer a lot. And then if I want to hit again, I have to use a Blitz. So the reason why I use Stand Firm is I can actually stick against a big guy, and if they can't kick me out, if they just push me, I can actually hit them the next round very easily.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the best skill, but it seems to work out so far.
Yeah,
it's a great skill.
Annoying.
It's gonna force some dice out of people on their big guys as well, so I think it might be a good choice. And it protects you from counter serves, which is a good bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Frenzy, you're going to be surfing a lot, and that'll keep you on the pitch. All right, Juvasek, any other questions for our guest?
Well, now he's playing again against Orcs. Will he change anything into his approach? Of course, don't tell us our plans.
Yeah, don't give away too much of your strategy.
Yeah, or something you are considered about your opponent's team.
Yeah, I looked at it earlier today. I don't really know how to approach it. The team looks a lot like the team I faced this week. And even though I think I could have done a 0-0 against the other team, I made a couple of mistakes that got the touchdown. I don't know how I could have scored.
So you're going up against Commanders in Grief? Is that who you're playing?
Yeah, and my goal is really a 0-0 at that point. If I can get that, I would be happy.
Well, I can tell you, you've already lost the uniform matchup. That's okay. You got a Black Orc here that doesn't have block on it, so I mean that's one of the matchups that favors you. Otherwise, his team is actually looking pretty good as well, so you might have your hands full.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool. You did come from the Eurogamer article, and you're a fairly new player. Is there anybody or any games you're looking forward to playing, or have you already played somebody and you've got to play them again? Now, I know that they had a ramp-up kind of league for a lot of you guys, so far a lot of our players from Euro leagues have already played each other. Have you played anybody else yet? That's in the division?
Yeah, I think the Camry player, I did play him.
With the same teams?
Yes, he was in the open, in the OI.
Okay.
I did lost on the OI and we did a draw this time.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Okay, so there you go. You're meeting people. You're getting rivalries going. You're getting matchups you probably don't want right now. But I mean, it would have been nicer if you'd have been like in a Elfie Elite division. But you've only got I don't even think you've got one human, do you? Because both humans are out. So the Skaven, you got some Skaven. And that's about it. Skaven and one human. Oh, and High Elf. Okay. So 4.
2 elves teams.
Is there 2 elf teams? I think there's 1. Oh, 2. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I guess it's not that bad.
Well, maybe his strategy, now that we are talking with him in the interview, is to think the other coach that he's not good and underestimate him. Because I've seen that he's drawn with the Camry, that it's a huge result for the Dwarves. Right. Drawn with the Lizards, that it's amazing. He won easily the Skavens, and then he lost to the Orcs. So he avoided defeat in 2 out of 3 very tough matchups.
So maybe he's only played 6 months on the PC, but he's been like a 12-year veteran of tabletop or something.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Okay.
I got the game actually a long time ago, but I only played maybe 5 times.
See, he starts moving back the time.
Yeah.
The tabletop game I bought a long time ago.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We definitely hope that your season goes a little better than your last game did, and I'm definitely going to check out a few of your games.
Thank you very much. Thank you for doing the show.
Hey, thank you guys. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. That was a great contender series thanks to our guests. Right now we have the main event and our undercards. So Charles, who do you have up for your main event pick of the week?
We have those nice solid bulk bombers humans versus the explosive Rebbl cheese thieves.
Alright, so the 5 players left on the cheese thieves are going to go up against the Bogue bombers.
Right.
Human team. So tell me a little bit about this and why you picked this as your main event.
Well, first off, there was a game played after I made this picture, so there is an inconsistency there where I say the Bulk Bombers are joint first place, but actually the Elf team got a win late and they are actually first place, which means it's the second place team versus a team with high consistency, with high potential but low consistency so far.
Right.
And I'm pretty interested to see what prevails here.
All right. And your keys to the matchup.
Well, I honestly feel like the humans could base a lot and make use of the fact that there's gonna be a lot of loners on those reds.
Yeah.
They also have armor 7, and dodging away with them is not really consistent at all. So I'm saying the key for the human team is controlling that line of scrimmage while keeping the ball safe. And then the key for the cheese thieves is that they get a lot of inducements money, because we already know what they're gonna do at this point. They're gonna score a bunch of touchdowns. I don't think that's gonna change. So what changed here is what those inducements are gonna bring them.
Yeah. All right. Now let's take a look at, that was the main event.
Yeah, who do you pick there?
I'm gonna go with the Bogue Bombers. I'm starting to lose faith in the Paneer because he can't do it alone, is what I'm starting to see.
Well, Abundance had a monster game, but I agree with you. The most consistent performance has been Paneer. And I will agree with you, as well as Juvsek. He agrees with us. Everyone thinks the Bogue Bombers take this one, so it's up for those Skaven to prove us wrong.
Or we just cast or curse the Bogue Bombers. That's a shame. Let's take a look at our next undercard event. Ska Poppin' Skavens versus Sweet Teeth Forever. Let's take a look at these teams. Looks like the Skaven come into this game healthy. And I don't see anybody missing for Sweet Teeth Forever. So other than the Skaven being a few players short, they've only got 8 people on this roster, so they're going to get some inducements there.
True.
Yeah. In this game, I think I like Sweet Teeth Forever. They've proven that they can win. They're doing a consistent job. And right now, the other Skaven, the Ska Poppin' Skavens, just not putting everything together that they need to be.
I would have to agree with you. The Necro team is one that has been surprising me. I gotta say, I didn't expect much of them for the season, but they're looking great. They got some wins, and they already beat the Big Brother Skaven team, and I expect them to do the same here.
Yeah, they've got nice development starting, plenty of block going around, starting with guard. No tackle, but so far they haven't needed it. Who did Juvsek pick?
Yeah, he agrees with us. Everyone is copying his picks, I guess.
I guess so. All right, let's take a look at our next matchup. Let's see.
The Beer Brawl Club versus Commanders in Grief.
Commanders in Grief. All right. Looks like Beer Brawl Club is loading, so let me take a look at Commanders in Grief. Commanders in Grief come in with a lineman missing. Some nice development on that team so far. And the Beer Brawl Club still loading. Oh, there it goes.
The Beer Brawl Club are gonna
Troll
be
Slayer.
missing a Troll Slayer.
Yep.
Yeah, they might buy a new one. It's not clear whether he's gonna choose that in the stadium enhancement or to get to debut a new Troll Slayer. Let's see what happens.
I think, boy, in that one, I think I get a new Troll Slayer right away. That's just me.
Me too. Yeah, because it's a slow developing team, and
You don't really need a
every
stadium.
game counts.
Well,
You
yeah.
want to get the ball rolling as soon as possible, right?
Because if he takes the MVP, it's going to crush you. You're going to be so sad.
Well, he can't take it this week because he's
he's
gonna
out.
be
Yeah, yeah.
MNG anyway. So
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe
If-
buy the stadium now. And set up, good point. Buy the stadium now, and then buy him next week before your game starts. If you
could
get
be a
good.
good strategy.
Depends on how much he rolls. But then again, do you want to sit on this extra money this week? I don't know. He's got 180. He's going to sit on 30k cash.
And as we talked about, it's getting up there in time for this week. I don't think the stadium enhancement necessarily helps you win right now, so you also might put into consideration that whatever helps you win now might be the best choice.
Yeah, I think in this game, I'm going to stick with Commanders in Grief. They were my pick for the division. Who do you got in this one, Charles?
I'll have to agree with you again. I just feel like I picked the Dwarf team versus the other Orc team, and it didn't go well for them.
Right.
And now Commanders in Grief have been the more solid Orc team. They have looked great.
Yeah, they're playing a little more
So-
consistent.
I think the bad matchup for the Dwarves here versus an Orc team that already has been doing well is going to be too much for them.
All right. And Juvsek?
He agrees with us.
Yeah, he does. Good to see everybody agreeing with me.
Yeah, everyone's copying you, I guess. then.
Clearly. The Sterling
that might be.
Hornets. Yeah, that's it. The Sterling Hornets bring out your undead. Let's take a look at the Hornets here. Come in, looks like healthy for the most part. And bring out your undead. Comes in healthy. Ooh, this is going to be a nice matchup. Can speed beat power, or will power push speed into the ground?
Yeah. And those Hornets have looked great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they have looked that solid, but they look special in the way they do things, the way they want to risk stuff, rolling those dice to get the win. I want to look more into them, but I feel pretty confident they'll get this one.
All right. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to bring out your undead. I think his luck runs out on that elf team. I think looking at his dice that I was looking at last time, he just was getting way too easily, or he wasn't getting enough injury rolls. This year it turns, or this season, this game it turns around, and I think he just gets a beat down some key players, and it's over.
Well,
Who's
may I
you?
just say,
Yeah.
one of the things I noted is that this Kenry team early, he doesn't have the firepower or the skill to get enough removals.
Yeah.
And this is a really good elf team, so I think you might want to reconsider that pick.
I will never pick those elves now, so you just jinx them. They do have a lot more
Okay.
blocks, so that could play in their favor, and they've got some strength and edge. Boy, nope, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm sticking with it.
And Juvisek agrees with me for this one. We have the elf team.
Well, you both are gonna be losers next week. All right.
We both pick individually, by the way. It just looks like I'm copying him after a bad
you just
week.
wait to see what he says, and then you just copy everything he does. I see what's going on there.
Yeah, that might be my strategy, but it looks like it, and it's not. We just pick the same thing.
Let's take a look at Varian Solarian and the Mass Bolts.
So the other elf team
Yeah,
here
the Solarian
is
come in
Lizardman.
healthy, and they're missing alignment on the elves, and that looks like they're down to maybe 11 players here. So that's going to be interesting. Development going pretty good for the elves. Let's see. Varian getting a lot of block on Saurus. Oof. This is again. I picked the Saurus team last season or last week too.
Me
They
too.
let me
yeah.
down. Not throwing enough
They
punches. Boy, I don't know. I'll let you go ahead and go first.
Yeah, I was one of the people who picked the Lizardman team. Didn't pan out, but I would say there's no shame in losing to those humans. I thought the human defense was beautiful, and the little switcheroo play they did was also beautiful. And the Lizardmen actually did well to make that game close after some very good coaching from the opponent. So I'm gonna stick with them one more time. I think they can do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Varian Solarian on this one as well. What about Juvsec? Who do you go with?
Jovsek thinks it's gonna be a draw, probably in the way of a shootout.
Okay.
No team being able to stop each other.
Alright. Last game we have Grumble got Orders, Dazed and Confused. Without even looking, I'm gonna go with Dazed and Confused. I know Grumblegrok has a ton of players. Oh, just one. Their main player is out. And it's gonna be a lot of Noblars on this team that are just not gonna get it done. Dazed and Confused, I can't get it to load yet, but definitely coming in strong. What do you got in this one?
And undefeated so far. I honestly had more expectations for that Ogre team. I do feel this is the best matchup they're gonna get out of all the matches in this week. I think it's the best matchup these Ogres are gonna get, but I just can't pick them. They played 4 matches, they only got a draw out of 4 matches. So my heart says Ogre, but my mind says Nurgle.
You should stick with your heart, Charles. I'm gonna go with Dazed and Confused on this one because you didn't even pick. You picked all the easy games, Charles. You didn't go with any upsets. All right.
That's why I'm losing, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
What's Juvsec going with?
He also goes for the Nurgle. I'm gonna have to pick some unconventional things to try to surpass Jovsec, but for this week I just wanna hold. After getting a terrible week of picks, I need to get something back. Let's go, team.
You're such a homer. You're such a front runner. All right. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll finish up the show. And welcome back to the final segment, Friday Night Fights for the week. Charles, I don't have any news around the league. How did your game go?
Me either.
Yeah, how'd your game go?
Oh, we were talking about how happy I was for getting my win.
Yeah.
So of course I lost.
That's what has to happen, yeah.
To go with my terrible picking for this division, I also get a loss. I felt like I was unlucky. I mean, when the opponent rolls a 6+ pass and a bunch more dice in the process, you do tend to feel unlucky. But I would say it puts me in a position where I have to win now. I'm gonna have to risk some of my beautiful players, and I'm gonna try to go kamikaze and get the win next week. Otherwise, I'm gonna just bolt the season, I guess.
You gonna reroll? You think of this? Is this gonna be the
Never.
season you reroll? All right.
No. Even if the team dies, I think I will stay with them. I'm not re-rolling at all. How about you? Did you get any more strength ups and stuff?
I didn't. I only got one level. It was a weird game. I had to play against Dark Elves, I think. Yeah.
Oh, nice team.
Yeah, not really. So they got the ball first, and they drove. I kept moving. I couldn't get any good removals. They had 2 scoring threats on turn 8, so I blitzed one of them and knocked him out. And then he had 1 scoring threat that I tied up. You know how you put 1 player on each side of them, so they can't really dodge easy. And we were talking on the stream, and he's like, "Well, let's see what happens." And can you guess what happens now, Charles?
He hands off to that guy.
Well, he dodges out away from my players. He does a dodge around my guy, so he has to make 3 dodges around on like a 3-up, and then he makes it to a 2-up, 1-up, and he makes it to the end zone. And he's like, "Well, okay, let's see." And he has to do a pass with the Witch Elf from about, I think, 13, whatever the maximum distance is for squares or something.
Oof.
But can you guess what happens next on?
He doesn't catch it, does
He
it?
clearly catches it in the end zone.
Oh,
We both
so
laughed.
yeah.
I mean, it was funny, but it's like I played the perfect defense there. The only thing I didn't do was like knock the players down. I spaced all my players. I made sure he couldn't get through. He had to throw over my team. And he's like, "Well, let's just YOLO," and he throws it and it makes it. And I'm like, "Oh God."
Well,
So-
that's what happens to me.
No,
so-
you know what happened? He paid for it in the next half though, because my players were a little upset by that. And by the end of the game, I think he only had like 2 players left on the pitch. So
Oh,
it was
that's nice.
I was
Okay.
easily able to score with a dwarf who just got to run the ball in from start to finish. And I was like, well. And then on turn 16 was the greatest. I was at turn 16. I was standing at the end zone, and I had that Witch Elf that threw that pass, Charles. I had her down on the ground, surrounded by 6, 7 players. And I said to myself, "Oh, it's turn 16. If I don't foul here, what am I doing?" I would have fouled him on turn 16 with no bribes, but the problem is I had that touchdown, and I needed 3 points for that guy to get to his next level. So I took
So-
the touchdown. I was disrespectful. I didn't. I wanted to stomp on that Witch Elf
That
so
makes me
bad.
So you won, or did you just get the draw?
We drew. It was a 1-1
Okay.
draw. But I'm
good
still,
enough.
I lost sleep about not fouling that Witch Elf on turn 16.
Yeah.
Because normally I
Your
don't do
values
that.
are wrong, man.
Man, no, I should have done that. I'm still debating. I should have just taken the loss, stomped her to death. Especially since I
No,
had
but-
my dirty player right there. But
But that blocker level up is so good,
I
so
know.
you probably made the right choice long term.
I think I did because that was my strength 4 blocker who now has Mighty Blow. So I'm happy.
Oh,
I know.
speaking of level ups,
Yeah.
my Witch Elf just got doubles, and she got Juggernaut, so she's absolutely beautiful. You should look at Lofrenisa before she dies and my team with Chilling.
Why
What a
don't you-
player.
What division are you in real quick? Let's take a look at that.
2B?
To be what?
Division 2B?
I'm just messing with you, Charles. Hang on.
Oh,
To
I'm
be or
stupid.
not to be. It's okay. Oh, the only thing I hate about looking about your team is these ugly uniforms. Let's take a look here. What's her name?
Lofrenisa, the level 6 witch.
Now, is this a name you
Look
picked
at
out, or
her.
is this just from the... Oh my god, this character is annoying, Charles.
Yeah.
Why is she still
well,
alive? Movement 8, Edge 5, Juggernaut, Fend? Why is she still
Yeah.
alive? Oh
I think
my-
it's because of defend and how defensive I play. So
yeah. Have you played a Robbie yet?
I have actually.
Oh, he didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't. do
And
his
she
job.
made it out.
She made it alive.
Yeah. Look at that.
Tomfoolery. I'm gonna say you must have bribed somebody. Shenanigans. Your team's actually coming back together. It looks like you're getting players again. So.
Yeah, I'm getting players again. I gotta get wins again. That's the point,
You
though.
gotta throw touchdowns and get wins, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, everybody else, have a good week. Get your games in by Wednesday again. I think you guys have most of your games in, so you guys are doing really well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think everything's going well. All right, we will definitely be back next Friday, and hope you guys enjoyed the show. See ya.
See ya.